Good evening, and welcome to the January 27th, 2025 meeting of the Menlo Park Planning Commission. I am Vice Chair Andrew Eric, and I thank you for joining us this evening, either remotely or here in council chambers. Established by state law, our city's Planning Commission is composed of 7 volunteer residents of Menlo Park, appointed to 4-year terms by the City Council. Our Planning Commission is not a policy-setting body. That's the City Council. We are a policy implementing body. We review development proposals for compliance with our city's general plan and zoning ordinances, which can both be found on the city's website. The Commission also reviews city-initiated land use projects, such as general plan updates and zoning ordinance amendments. The Commission reviews development proposals requiring a use permit, architectural control, a variance, minor subdivision, as well as the environmental reviews associated with these projects. When applicable, the Planning Commission reviews below market rate, or BMR, housing agreements associated with these applications. The Commission is the final decision-making body for these applications, unless appealed to the City Council. The Commission also serves as the recommending body to the City Council for major subdivisions, rezoning, conditional development permits, zoning ordinance amendments, general plan amendments, and environmental reviews associated with those projects. If applicable, the Planning Commission reviews and makes recommendations on BMR agreements associated with these projects. We work closely with the staff in our city's planning division, which is responsible for implementation of the general plan, zoning ordinances, and related policies. We encourage your active participation, whether you are an applicant or interested member of the public, and there will be an opportunity to speak publicly for each specific agenda item, as well as for general public comment. Before we begin, I'll just note for anyone watching on the Zoom that the heat is not working so well in council chambers tonight, so if you see anyone wearing coats and jackets, that's why. With that, I will call the roll. Commissioner Baruzzi.
Here.
Commissioner Doe.
Present.
Commissioner Farrick.
Here.
Commissioner Sillen. Here. Commissioner Silverstein.
Present.
I am Vice Chair Eric, and I am present. So we have 6 commissioners in chambers, which is a quorum. Okay. The next item on our agenda is Section C, Reports and Announcements. Ms. Sandmeyer, are there any staff reports or announcements this evening?
Yeah, good evening, Vice Chair Eric and Planning Commissioners. So at the City Council tomorrow night, proposed alternatives to the below market rate housing guidelines for a proposed affordable housing project at 335 Pierce Road will be will be heard at the council meeting. And for the same project, there will also be a community funding agreement that will be heard. That concludes my updates, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions from commissioners about those announcements? Yes, Commissioner Farrick.
Apologies, I was actually reading Ms. Sandmeyer's message, so were you just asking for consent calendar? No, okay.
No, sorry, I was asking for questions on the announcements. Okay, I actually do have a question. I believe I saw on the agenda for City Council tomorrow, there's also a agenda item that is looking at potential alternatives to citing the downtown housing project. Can staff confirm whether or not that is on the agenda?
Yeah, I don't immediately see that. What item, was that a specific item on the agenda?
I thought I may have been mistaken. Maybe. Commissioner Baruzzi.
There is a request from a council member for a future agenda item.
Okay, and is that request, I guess this is a question for staff, is that request discussed at the City Council?
Yeah, the request is on the agenda. I'm not not sure it's related to the downtown parking. Yeah, we can get back to you with additional information.
Okay, no problem. Okay, do any commissioners have additional reports or announcements? Okay, seeing none, we will move to item D, the public comment portion of our agenda. Under public comment, the public may address the commission on any subject not listed on the agenda. Each speaker may address the commission once under public comment for a limit of 3 minutes. You are not required to provide your name, district, neighborhood, or city of residence, but it is helpful. The commission cannot act on items not listed on the agenda, and therefore, the commission cannot respond to non-agenda issues brought up under public comment, other than to provide general information. Please know that if you are here tonight to comment or speak on one of our agenda items, you will have a chance to speak when we get to that item in the agenda. So to learn how to participate, I'm going to turn to our clerk this evening, Mr. Pruder, to explain how you can participate and then to begin our public comment period.
Thank you and good evening, Acting Chair Eric, and good evening, Planning Commissioners and members of the public for this public comment period, along with other public comment periods for respective project items. Members of the public in person are welcome to speak if they could provide me with a public comment card first and foremost, and we would then allow you to speak at that time. Any members of the public accessing this meeting via Zoom are requested to press the hand icon on their Zoom interface in order to request an opportunity to speak on an item. Similarly, anyone who is calling by phone can press *9 on their phone keypad, and that will also indicate that you on the phone call would like to speak as well. And with that, we can await any interest in public comment. At the moment, I have no public comment cards, and I don't see any hands raised, but we could wait a little longer for this item. Thank you.
Sure, we'll give it a few more seconds. Mr. Pruder, are there any requests to speak?
I do not see any at this time. Thank you.
Okay, I will now close the public comment portion of our agenda. The next agenda item is our consent calendar. Tonight, there is one item on the consent calendar, which is approval of minutes from the January 13th, 2025 Planning Commission meeting. Do any of my fellow commissioners wish to pull this item from the consent calendar? Commissioner Farrick.
I wish to pull this item from the consent calendar.
Okay, we will do so. Okay, therefore, I think what we will do next is take public comment on the item that has been pulled. Mr. Pruder, could you please open the public comment period?
Yes, thank you, Acting Chair Eric. At this time, members of the public who wish to speak on item E1, this consent calendar item, please again provide a comment card if you're in person, or raise your hand via Zoom, or press *9 if you're calling. We do not have any members of the public who wish to comment at the moment, but we can wait a moment longer if you'd like. Thank you.
Okay, assuming we have no hands raised, I think we can close public comment. So as a reminder to the public and the commission, we are now considering the approval of minutes from the January 13th, 2025 Planning Commission meeting. I will first ask staff if there is any update.
Yes, so Commissioner Farrick sent us 2 corrections, and we left copies at the back table for the public if they'd like to see them, and on the dais for commissioners. So I don't know if Commissioner Farrick has any updates on those, or it's just the text edits.
I'd like to provide context for my fellow commissioners, is just that when I was reading, I definitely don't presume to have been the most articulate speaker, but the reading of the minutes was very much muddled, and so it's just a pretty straightforward clarification of existing language from the minutes, but in a way that actually conveyed the thought I was attempting to articulate. So no substantive change, just making it read like possibly I speak the language that I was trying to speak in, which wouldn't have indicated that I did if it was left as is.
Okay. Are there any other clarifying questions from commissioners or other discussion? I don't have any questions. I would like to just commend staff. I believe as part of the motion last time, we asked for a longer version of the minutes, and we appreciate staff's putting that together, in particular doing so before the next meeting of the commission. So thank you very much.
I have a brief comment.
Please go ahead, Commissioner Baruzzi.
I have to say that I really appreciate the level of detail as well. And I remember when all the planning commission meetings used to be documented this way. And I feel like when you're trying to understand how something went down or why things are a certain way, it's super useful to be able to look back and see what happened. And so I'm sure there are cost constraints or there's probably some reason why planning commission meetings like this aren't documented. But and I'm not going to make a policy proposal because it's not agendized, but I think it's nice when we're talking about substantive issues to have this level of detail, and I hope maybe we can have that again in the future.
Thank you, Commissioner Baruzzi. Okay, if there are no further questions, then I think we're ready to move to a motion, if that is.
Can I make
Commissioner
a motion
Farrick.
to approve the minutes as amended per the updates given to us today?
Yes, we have a motion from Commissioner Farrick
Second.
and a second from Commissioner Silverstein. Seeing no further comments, I will call the vote. Commissioner Baruzzi,
Aye.
Commissioner Doe,
Yes.
Commissioner Farrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Sillen,
Aye.
Commissioner Silverstein.
Yes.
I am also a yes, so that is 6 yeses and 1 absent. The motion passes. All right, we will now move to item F and to the first item, F1, the first public hearing item. Under this item, considering a use permit for 651A Coleman Avenue, the commission may consider and adopt a resolution to approve a use permit to reduce the interior side setback for an accessory dwelling unit, or ADU, to approximately 3 feet, where 4 feet is required. The proposed project is located in the R1U Single Family Urban Residential Zoning District at 651A Coleman Avenue. Determine this action is categorically exempt under CEQA guidelines section 15303's class 3 exemption for new construction or conversion of small structures. Okay. I will first turn it to staff for any updates to the staff report.
Yeah, thank you. We have no updates, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay. I believe we have a presentation from the property owners. Please.
Hi, my name is James Loftus. This is my wife, Cassandra Lopez. We just wanted to introduce ourselves and thank the commission for considering our use permit tonight. We don't have a lot to add to what was submitted, but we wanted to know we're here to answer questions. And also we have Colin Camaro and several members of the AKD Homes team online to answer any questions you have as well. So we just wanted to make sure you know we're here to do that. So thank you.
Thank you very much for being here. Do any commissioners have any clarifying questions? Commissioner Sillen.
Thank you. I think this is a question for staff about the survey process. I guess, could you please elaborate on, why one survey is not sufficient and why another survey was required? And who does these surveys and how is it determined that there was an error in the first one? Thank you.
Yeah, I believe the first one may not have been field-based boundary survey, and then a survey is required before pouring the foundation, which I think in this case was not required, but our procedures have been updated to require that, so that kind of error wouldn't occur again.
Sorry, can you repeat that first part where you said the first survey was not a what?
I don't believe it was a field-based boundary survey, which is what we usually require. So a survey done in the field.
I'm not super familiar with the types of surveys out there. Could you explain what type of survey it was instead?
Yeah, I believe it may just have been based on records. I don't know if the applicant or designer have more information, but that's my understanding.
Please, thank you.
Good evening. So to piggyback on, my name's Kalen, by the way, with AKD Homes, the design builder that designed and built the ADU at 651 Coleman. So the first survey was a field survey, but what they call it is just, it's not a draft, but it's a survey. It's not a record of survey. So it's not recorded to the county. So it's not necessarily official in terms of the county's eyes. So it's a survey, it's a properly done survey, it's just not recorded with the county.
And do you have any more information as to why that survey, or I guess, was that just a misunderstanding in terms of what was required, or why was it that survey was done, but then it turns out the city requires a different one?
For accessory dwelling units, you're not required to record your surveys. Maybe that's an update that they changed recently, but yeah, you're not required to record your survey with the counties for an accessory dwelling unit.
Okay, I think the substance of my question is just trying to understand how this error occurred.
Of course. Yeah. So the first survey that was done, when you pour or when you start the foundation, usually you're required to do a form check or form verification from your civil engineer to test and to make sure and measure that the foundation that you're building equals or is confirmed with the previous survey that they did. So it's technically two surveys that they need to do. So that was where the mistake happened, was the civil engineer went out the first time, conducted the survey, not a record of survey, but conducted the survey. When they went out the second time to do the form verification, that's where the mistake was made. And the measurements between the property line and the garage was incorrect.
And that second one was done before the concrete was poured?
After.
After, okay, I see. And now we're requiring that to be done before. Got it. Okay, thank you for explaining that.
Of course.
I don't have any more questions.
Thank you, Commissioner Sillen. Do any other commissioners have clarifying questions? Yes, Commissioner Doe.
Thank you, Vice Chair Eric. I just had a quick question through the Vice Chair to staff. The staff report says that the 3-foot setback, though it's short of the 4-foot for ADUs, it does meet minimum setback requirements in the California Residential Building Code, and I was just curious what that minimum is.
Yeah, I believe that has to do with with the openings that are there. I think for the purposes of review of the project, the 3 feet is sufficient to meet required codes for fire and building. The 4 feet is just the requirement for a ADU, and so they're requesting this deviation.
Thank you.
Okay. Do other commissioners have further clarifying questions? Okay. I believe at this time, I would like to open public comment. It seems like Mr. Pruder needed to step out for 1 second, so maybe we'll wait for him to return. Oh. Mr. Pruder, thank you. It seems you were dealing with the heat. We appreciate it. At this time, could you please provide instructions regarding public comment and start the comment period on item F1?
Yes, I apologize for the slight delay, but fortunately for us in the building, there is heat working in. At this time, with public comment, we have an opportunity to speak on this item, F1. And I don't see any commenters at this time, but again, members in person, please bring a filled out comment card. And members on Zoom, please press the hand icon. And by phone, you can press *9. And we could wait a moment longer if you'd like to confirm. Thank you.
Okay, I think folks have had enough time, so I'm going to close public comment on this item and move us into commission discussion and ultimately a motion regarding the use permit. Would any commissioners like to begin the discussion? Commissioner Bruzi.
It looks like a nice ADU. I noted that the original garage was non-conforming, and there was a note about how for outbuildings, the minimum setback was 3 feet. And I thought that was interesting that we have a different setback for ADUs than we do for outbuildings. But I'm inclined to support the project. I have no issues with it, to support the staff recommendation.
Commissioner Sillen.
Thank you. Yeah, my comment is just that based on the information provided during the question period, it seems like, and based on the letter included in the staff report, it seems like the city inspector allowed the concrete to be poured, even though there was no verification that the forming boards matched the survey. And we've since changed our policy on that, but nevertheless, I don't think that's the homeowner's fault. Of course, ideally, that wouldn't have happened, but, you know, that's a lot of people involved, civil engineer, contractor, inspector. And yeah, like Commissioner Bursey said, the previous structure was much closer to the property line. And, you know, I think it would be very silly to require this to be rebuilt just to move it 1 foot over. So I'm also happy to support this permit.
Thank you. Commissioner Farrick.
Thanks. I just have a couple questions that I didn't quite think were necessarily clarifying. It's probably for the city attorney around precedent setting on a setback. Would this constitute any sort of precedents that could be repeated?
We take it case by case, so no. It's each ADU. I mean, ADUs are not very rarely in your discretion at all, and even in this case, we're really looking at the side setback, the reduced setback issue. So, no, there's no precedent setting. It's just case by case, and in this case, there was an unfortunate error along the way, and we're fixing it with the use permit as the code allows.
Thank you. And then just to confirm, it sounds like the 3-foot setback is sufficient for safety access?
That's my understanding with the building code, but the building code can set sort of the minimum standard, and state law, allows up to 4 feet for side and rear setbacks for ADU.
Thank you.
Commissioner Sillen.
It looks like no other commissioners have comments, so I would like to make a motion to approve the use permit as presented in the staff report.
Commissioner Doe.
Second.
Okay, seeing no further comments, I will call the vote. Commissioner Baruzzi,
Aye.
Commissioner Doe,
Yes.
Commissioner Farrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Sillen,
Yes.
Commissioner Silverstein.
Yes.
I am also a yes. That is 6 yeses with 1 absent. So the motion passes. Thank you for being here. Congratulations. Okay, we are now going to move to item F2, a use permit for 420 Pope Street. On this item, the commission may consider and adopt a resolution to approve a use permit to demolish an existing single-story, single-family residence and detached structures and construct a new 2-story, single-family residence and detached garage on a substandard lot with regard to lot width in the R1U single-family urban residential zoning district, and determine this action is categorically exempt under CEQA guidelines, section 15303's class 3 exemption for new construction or conversion of small structures. The project includes an accessory dwelling unit, or ADU, which is a permitted use that is not subject to discretionary review. Okay. Are there any updates from staff?
Hi, yes, thank you. This is Thomas Rogers participating remotely. We did miss, unfortunately, we missed the data table from the packet. However, we were alerted to this omission earlier today. We sent copies to the planning commissioners as well as the applicant. And we've also printed copies and they're available at the back of the room tonight. There are no substantive differences with the development standards and totals that are listed on the project plans, but that was an omission since the attachment was referenced in the attachments. That page just got missed. That is the only staff correction or clarification. I would note that we are going to have the applicant Gagan Kang representing Thomas James Homes, as well as Dave Pocket from the architect. They have submitted a visual presentation that I can run when we get to that portion, but I'm certainly happy to answer any other questions from the commission at this point if there are any.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rogers. I think we can move to the presentation from the applicant. I see Mr. Kang is on the line. So Mr. Kang, please go ahead.
Thank you, Thomas. So good evening to the Planning Commission. My name is Gagan Kang with Thomas James Homes. I'm a forward planning manager here. Thank you for the opportunity to briefly give you a presentation of 420 Pope Street to show you our proposed project. With us, we have our project architect, Dave Pocket, with me as well to answer any questions. And we also have Carlin and Jean-Pierre, the homeowners. Next slide, please. So on this slide here, we have the existing versus the proposed home. The proposed home is laid out in the red outline. And then the existing home that is shaded in blue. So you have the home and then you have the 2-car garage that was accessed from Pope Street. what we're doing different here is with the new garage, we're accessing it from the rear alley, which you can also see here in the site context. It's very common in that area. Speaking of site context, the Immediate Willows neighborhood, it consists of 1- and 2-story homes, both renovated and newer construction homes. There's a variety of material found, just like the rest of the Menlo Park. There's stucco, there's horizontal siding, board and batten, a cedar, shingles. There's several different elevations in use. Spanish craftsman, there's farmhouse, and there's some transitional style homes, which are a blend of elevations. And there's also a mix of both 1- and 2-car garages. Garages at the front and garages accessed through the rear alleyways. Next slide, please. So on this lot, we have a total of 12 trees, 9 of which are considered on-site. 1 is on the neighbor's lot there. 2 are at the front of the street on Pope. We're proposing to remove the dead tree, which was visited by the city arborist to confirm that it is in fact dead. And also 5 non-heritage trees, which are smaller in circumference and diameter. There will be no heritage tree removals to note for the proposed home on the site. Having worked with Menlo Park for the last several years, our team knows that we do our best to design a floor plan that does not remove trees, especially larger mature trees. And that's just not for Menlo Park. It's, pretty much everywhere we build, especially on the peninsula. Next slide, please. So here we have the planting plan, the landscape plan. I just want to first mention that we are doing a 7-foot fence with no lattice. We also were proposing to add 6 trees. As we are removing 6 trees, we're also adding 6 trees here. So that consists of 2 maple trees, 3 strawberry trees, and 1 red bud. Next slide, please. So here I'll quickly walk you through our first floor plan. On our first floor, we have a great room. As you know, more modern homes now have eliminated the living room. You just have a great family room for everyone to gather. So we have that here. We have the kitchen and the dining area. And then we also have the attached 1-bed, 1-bath ADU on the first floor as well. And then we also put the detached car garage on here as well. That's in the rear alley. Next slide, please. So moving on to the second story floor plan. This is where all the bedrooms are. So the primary bedroom, and then 2 smaller bedrooms upstairs and the laundry. Next slide, please. So here we have the front and rear elevations. At the top, you have the front elevation, and at the bottom, you have the rear elevation. And on the right, you can see our roof plan. On the right side would be the front of the home, and then on the left side there would be the rear of the home. Next slide, please. So here we have the left and right elevations. So at the top is the right elevation, at the bottom is the left elevation. Next slide. And here is the garage elevation. This is accessed from the rear alleyway. And the red dots on the sheet are showing the daylight plane We did receive a comment during plan check, and we did redesign this garage early on. Next slide, please. So here we have the color board. So as you can see here, our proposed home's construction is designed to be visually pleasant while still conforming to the Willows neighborhood in Menlo Park. We're proposing a Spanish-style elevation. This consists of, given we're building in Menlo Park, roof forms that are low-pitched, both with gable and hip elements, and also earth tone concrete S-tiles on the roof. The proposed color palette, it's more of a off-white color for the exterior stucco and a tad bit warmer brownish gray for the trim. And I know we don't have to specifically list the colors on the color board, but we like to use a specific quality paint, so we definitely put it out there. So given the eclectic style in the neighborhood and in the surrounding neighborhood, we believe our proposed home does fit well. Next slide, please. And that's it. Thank you for allowing us to just briefly go over the project this evening, and that concludes our presentation. I myself from Thomas James Homes and our project architect Dave Pocket from Bassinian Lagoni via Zoom. We're available for any questions you may have.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kang. At this time, are there any clarifying questions from commissioners? Commissioner Silverstein.
Yeah, just one clarifying question for the architect. I know the garage is going to be in the back with the intent of using the alley, but the front pictures that you just showed had seemingly a driveway and gate in the front. Just wanted to confirm that that's also going to be a driveway there, or is the only car access going to be in the back?
Dave, do you want to take that, or I can answer that question? So we're likely having some trouble here. So that is it's a concrete driveway pad in the front as well.
Thank you.
But the garage is not accessed this way, to clarify.
Do other commissioners have clarifying questions? Commissioner Farrick.
Thank you. Just to follow on to that line, does the driveway pad constitute a plan for cars to be parked there as a kind of a default place that residents would park?
In the rear, so there's not enough space to park in front of the garage. You have the 2-car garage, and then if you were in the rear alleyway to the left of the garage, we do have 2 additional spots where you can park 2 additional cars. So they would.
Thanks. I think I'm once again not being very articulate. I meant that front yard concrete pad that doesn't access the garage. Is that a car parking space?
Correct.
I see. Thank you.
I also had a clarifying question, and potentially I'm just being dense, but I'm looking at the submitted plans on A10. It's also marked A2.0. It seems to suggest that it's a 2-car garage and that there's 2 unobstructed clear spaces. And then I was looking at A16, or it's also marked A3.2. And on that page, it says 1-car garage. And so I was just wondering is the proposed garage meant to be a one-car garage or a two-car garage?
Okay, sorry. So on A 3.2, that is a typo. It is actually a two-car garage.
Thank you for clarifying. Do other commissioners have clarifying questions? Okay, seeing none, let's move to public comment. Mr. Pruder, can you please open public comment for this item?
Thank you, Acting Chair Eric. At this time, we have public comment for this item, item F2. And members of the public who would like to speak in person, please feel free to fill out a comment card and provide it to me, and you'll be able to speak on this item. And additionally, for those on Zoom, using the Zoom app, please press the hand icon, and you'll be able to speak as well. And again, as a reminder for those calling by phone, please press *9 on your keypad, and you will also be able to speak. I do not see any requests at this time, but we could wait a little longer if you'd like, Acting Chair. Thank you.
Okay, assuming there are still no requests to speak, I'm going to close public comment for this item and move into commission discussion and ultimately a motion regarding the use permit. Commissioner Farrick.
I don't have any further questions. Just comment that it looks like a really nicely designed project with good proportions. So if the commission has no further, comments, I'm happy to make a motion. Okay, then, I will make a motion to approve the use permit for 420 Pope Street and send my appreciation to staff for getting us that data table. I was looking all over for it, and thank you.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second, and I do not see any further comments, so I will call the vote. Commissioner Baruzzi,
Yes.
Commissioner Doe,
Yes.
Commissioner Farrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Sillen,
Aye.
Commissioner Silverstein.
Yes.
I am also a yes. That is 6 yeses and 1 absent. The motion passes. Okay, we will move to item F3 on the agenda. In this item, the commission may adopt a resolution approving a use permit for excavation within the required rear setback for a rear retaining wall on a property located in the R1S Single Family Residential Suburban Zoning District at 2319 Warner Range Avenue, and determine this action is categorically exempt under CEQA guidelines section 15303's Class 3 exemption for new construction or conversion of small structures. Mr. Rogers, are there any staff updates?
There are not any staff updates. I would note that the omission of a data table from this particular project was deliberate, just because the action in front of the commission is explicitly for the excavation for the retaining wall. The construction of the main house on a standard lot without any excavation for the basement light wells in the setback, that is a permitted use, and so that's why we didn't present the various square footages about the house to the commission, because it's not directly under your purview, and it is already under construction. The applicant Salar Safai is attending in person tonight, along with the owner Vic Thadani. That concludes the staff introduction. I'm available for questions if needed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rogers. As Mr. Rogers said, I believe we have the applicant and the owner in person with us tonight. I do not see that they plan to deliver any remarks, although if you would like, you're welcome to.
Hi, good evening. I just wanted to thank you and everyone for their time and the staff for all their help throughout the process. We have the owner and his wife here. If you have any questions, we're happy to help. Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Through the chair, can I just
Yes.
ask him to introduce himself for the minutes?
Sure. I'm Salar Safai. I'm the owner and principal designer at Safai Design Group. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Safai, and thank you, Commissioner Farrick. Do any commissioners have clarifying questions on this item? Commissioner Farrick.
I do, thank you. This is, I believe, for staff. Thank you, and I'm glad that it's you, Mr. Rogers. I know we've worked together for many years, and you probably know this very, very well. Can you share with the commission what the policy drivers that bring a retaining wall such as this to us for consideration?
Yeah, it's a section of the zoning ordinance. It's titled excavation, and it is pretty short. It just says that excavating more than 12 inches within the required setback, with a few exceptions for things like normal landscaping and accessory building foundations. Otherwise, that kind of excavation of more than a foot requires planning commission approval if it's within the setback. The original adoption of that provision is far enough back that we don't have any context about what the thinking was, but certainly it is something that the planning commission does see from time to time. And for your focus, it really is just worth looking at the use permit findings that have to be made. And in essence, if there's a negative impact on other properties or the neighborhood or city as a whole, health, safety, and welfare, those kinds of considerations, if you can make findings, could drive a denial. From our side as staff, looking at it from lack of visibility, the consideration of impacts to the neighbors, I would say with the caveat about the tree issues that have been resolved by the city arborist per their procedures, subject to some follow-up. Otherwise, from our perspective, we did not see a basis for denial with the use permit findings, but that ultimately is what the Planning Commission should be considering the action under.
Thank you. And then just while you're on a follow-up, not being a structural or civil engineer, it's hard for me to make a determination on like the risk. Is there some way to think about the risk of a retaining wall decision?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the Planning Commission's action, I think what is most clear is that you are relying on the expertise of the building division staff, and this has been evaluated on a preliminary basis from the building division. If the Planning Commission does approve the use permit, it would be the requirement would be for the applicant to make a new permit application for the retaining wall specifically. Each detached structure, and a retaining wall is a detached structure, requires its own permit, and building would do its full review through that. I believe they look at a site-specific soils report. There are some unique soil conditions in the Sharon Heights area, but they ultimately are the experts looking at things like stability and structural integrity. So nothing would be shortcut in terms of the normal procedures, and the Planning Commission can look a little more holistically at it right now.
Thank you. Very helpful.
Commissioner Silverstein.
Yeah, I have a follow-up question for Mr. Rogers. You mentioned that the original ordinance that required this is from a long time ago and not specific to this issue specifically, but we've actually come across a number of items brought before the Planning Commission as a result of municipal ordinances that have been in code for decades. I'm wondering, is there a cadence upon which either the Planning Commission or city staff goes through and reviews to evaluate the appropriateness of any given element in terms of like use permit requirements, or is that simply something that needs to come from City Council if anything would want to be changed, or is there kind of like an annual review or something that would come to the Planning Commission for that purpose?
It is primarily something that would need to come from the City Council. I certainly think if asked, planning staff might. Well, we might have the same opinion about things that could be refined and improved. We might have 12 different opinions. There are a number of things that are just things kind of accrete over time. It seems like requirements often build up but don't get removed. But yeah, ultimately it can be a substantial work effort to streamline things. When I first started working for the city, there was an initiative to streamline some of our commercial ordinances. It went by the catchy name of commercial streamlining. But taking that as a model, that was something that needed to be the City Council saying this is a focus and we want to dedicate resources to it. There's not otherwise an automatic check-in, refresh, or sunsetting of ordinances. It's more, the City Council as a policy body would need to direct that cleanup or refinement should happen.
Great, thanks for the context.
I'm seeing no other clarifying questions from commissioners at this time. So we will move to public comment. Mr. Pruder, if you could please open the public comment period for this item.
Thank you, Acting Chair Eric. Excuse me. Once again, at this time, we have public comment for item F3. And members of the public who would like to speak in person, please feel free to fill out a comment card and provide that to me so that you may speak on this item. In addition to the members who are joining on Zoom, please press the hand icon. And for those calling by phone, please press *9. And similarly, you can provide the request to speak. And I don't see any hands raised or comment cards at this time, so we can wait a moment longer if you'd like to confirm that no comments are requested. Thank you.
Okay, assuming there are still no requests to speak, I will close public comment for this item and move us into commission discussion and ultimately a motion regarding this use permit. Would any commissioners like to begin the discussion? Commissioner Silverstein.
I'm happy to support the staff recommendation.
I did have one question. As Mr. Rogers pointed out, the issues with the trees involved in this project are not relevant to our discussion here. But I did notice in the staff report, there was detail on the history of tree number 20H and an associated notice of violation. I would be interested or curious, it's certainly not required, if either the applicant or staff could provide or would like to provide any additional color on tree number 20H. If not, that's also okay.
This project did have another planner on it at the beginning, and it was transferred when she departed for working from the city. But I did check in with the city arborist on that, and my understanding was that it was that tree was supposed to be retained and protected as part of the main house construction. It's not particularly close to the proposed retaining wall. And the feedback I got from the city arborist was that the protection was not adequate. And so then when the house construction was getting going, the tree was damaged, and the arborist was able to draw a direct connection to the construction activities and the lack of protection as directed in the original arborist report. But that's a little vague, I know, but that it comes down to the protection measures not being followed as explicitly as they were drawn up.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers. Commissioner Sillen.
Thank you. Through the chair, I just had a question for Mr. Rogers. Since it's noted in the staff report, and I'm sure many residents know that, yes, Sharon Heights is known for having all kinds of topographical variety, hills and such. I assume is it fair to assume that's fairly common to have retaining walls within the setback? Is this an item that comes up often as things progress with properties in that area?
It's it is relatively common. You all did see me for a project at 5 Shasta Lane in November or December of last year. That was associated with an ADU, but they also wanted to build a more flat rear yard for other reasons. So in the sense of, you have seen 2 of them and, within 6 months, that is reflective, I think. But just the way projects go, it might be like 2 years before you see another one. And there are cases where people are able to put their retaining walls in non-setback locations, so those don't go to the Planning Commission, or keep the excavation at less than a foot. So I think if you flew around Sharon Heights, you certainly would see a lot of them. Some of them are from a long time ago, but other ones are newer, and some of those come to the Planning Commission, but some do not. Overall, there are a number of them.
Thank you. And a follow-up question is, in your knowledge, have there been instances of planning commissions taking issue with the use permit? And if so, what did that center around when it comes to retaining walls within setbacks?
Well, nothing is jumping out at me right now as an example. I think commissions over the history of the commission do think about visual aesthetics. And if you can imagine a lot that had excavation in the front yard, I think you could theoretically see something that was just unattractive. With a rear yard excavation, that kind of goes out the window. I think theoretically you could have something that's just so close to the property line that it impacts the neighbors in some way. But in response to Commissioner Farrick's question, the structural aspect is vetted by the building division. So just as an abstract theoretical, I think something that was visually apparent and unattractive could be something the commission might find fault with. But in terms of an exact example I could point to, I don't actually have one.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I don't have any more questions. My comment is that, yeah, this seems like, I'm assuming, a fairly common thing. As the staff report notes, not going to be visible to nearby properties. And as Mr. Rogers commented, we're going to rely on building professionals' expertise in terms of safety and soil reports and all that. My only thought would be if there are other tree roots in that area that might be encountered, and since the applicant has already had clearly incurred some expenses with tree issues, I'm assuming they will take note of that, and so I'm happy to support this permit.
Thank you, Commissioner Sillen. Would any commissioner like to make a further comment or a motion?
I'm sorry, Vice Chair. I thought we had a first from Commissioner. Was that?
I did not make a first formally, but I'm very happy
Oh,
to.
I'm sorry. I didn't put meaningful words in your mouth. I was going to make a second if there was a first, or a first if there was none. So
I move to approve this permit as per the staff report.
We have a motion
second.
and a second from Commissioner Doe. Seeing no further comments, I will call the vote. Commissioner Baruzzi,
Yes.
Commissioner Doe,
Yes.
Commissioner Farrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Sillen,
Yay.
Commissioner Silverstein.
Yes.
I am also a yes. That is 6 yeses and 1 absent. The motion passes. Congratulations and thank you very much. Okay, we will now move to item F4, a use permit at 1046 Oakland Avenue. With this item, the commission may consider and adopt a resolution to approve a use permit to allow first floor interior modifications and addition of a new second story to an existing single-story, single-family residence on a substandard lot with regard to minimum lot width in the R1U single-family urban residential zoning district at 1046 Oakland Avenue. The proposed addition would exceed 50% of the existing floor area and is considered equivalent to a new structure. The commission may also determine this action is categorically exempt under CEQA guidelines section 15301's class 1 exemption for existing facilities. I believe Ms. Khan is the planner for this item. Ms. Khan, are there any staff updates?
Good afternoon, Vice Chair Eric and Planning Commissioners and members of the public. At this time, there's no update to the staff report that has been provided. I am here to take any questions as well as the property owners. They are online and their architect designer is online as well.
Okay, thank you very much. Hello, thank you for being with us virtually. I believe either the owner or the architect were going to provide some verbal remarks. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so first of all, thank you for the chance to have this permit application being considered. Thanks also for Fatin for sort of supporting us through the process. We're putting in the application, basically we want to expand our house and add additional square footage, like just for our family use, and just sort of make it a little bit of, more comfortable in our forever home. So that's just what we're doing here. I believe based on our plans, we require the Planning Commission approval because we are crossing the 50% guideline for our lot.
Thank you very much. At this time, do any members of the commission have clarifying questions? Commissioner Farrick.
Thanks. Just as a kind of a comment, or I mean, I know we're on clarifying, but it's really only because of a function of your lot width is why you're here, not because of, well, it may be also in addition to the amount of improvement, but as far as Planning Commission approval, it's just your lot width. Most of us live on substandard lots, but they're lovely.
We love our neighborhood. That's why we want to just update this home.
Other clarifying questions? Okay, seeing none, we will move to public comment. Mr. Pruder, if you could please open public comment for this item.
Thank you again, Acting Chair Eric. At this time, we have public comment for item F4. And I see no members of the public in the building, but if anyone's coming in, please fill out a comment card and provide it to me if you'd like to speak in person. Similarly, with those on Zoom, please press the hand icon. And for those who are participating by phone, please press *9, and I'll make sure that you are able to speak on this item. And at the moment, again, I don't see anyone raising their hand or indicating a desire to speak. We can wait a moment longer before closing public comment. Thank you.
Okay, assuming that there are still no requests to speak, I will close public comment for this item and move us into commission discussion and ultimately a motion regarding this use permit. Commissioner Baruzzi.
I just wanted to, in the interest of disclosure, I live within 1,000 feet, but not within 500 feet of this property. And so I'm not planning to recuse myself. I don't know the applicants and I have no substantive input to add. So thank you.
Commissioner Doe.
Thank you, Vice Chair Eric. I just wanted to note, it seems like an entirely reasonable design proposition to expand an existing home, and it's always interesting when existing homes are reconfigured and reimagined rather than being torn down. So it's always appreciative. I always appreciate seeing how people reimagine an existing space and reconfigure what is existing and add to it. And the other thing I would say is also appreciated that the character and materiality of the home is intentionally to just maintain that and kind of keep with the character of the home and neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you.
I will just add that I agree with the comments from Commissioner Doe.
I move to approve the permit as per the staff report.
Commissioner Doe.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. And I see no other commissioners wishing to comment, so I will call the vote. Commissioner Baruzzi.
Aye.
Commissioner Doe.
Yes.
Commissioner Farrick.
Yes.
Commissioner Sillen.
Yes.
Commissioner Silverstein.
Yes.
I am also a yes, so the motion passes. Congratulations. Thank you very much. We appreciate your being here. Sorry, the vote was 6 yeses with 1 absent.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, everyone, and special thanks to Fatin for coordinating everything with us. She's been a great support in just guiding us through the process, so we really appreciate the staff support here.
Thank you. Okay, that concludes the public hearing item of our agenda. We will move now to item G, informational items. Ms. Sandmeyer, would anyone from staff like to provide an update on upcoming Planning Commission meetings and agendas?
Yes, so the February 10th meeting, we didn't have any items, so that meeting is canceled. February 24th, we're still putting together an agenda, so we don't have anything confirmed yet. And I do have a quick update on the earlier question about the City Council meeting tomorrow. So there is a request from a council member for a future item, and that future item is for alternative sites instead of the downtown parking lot, so alternative sites for affordable housing. And so the if that is added to a future agenda, it would be discussed then. So for tomorrow, it's just a discussion about adding the agenda item. And
Okay, and just to clarify, when something like that is requested by a city council member, it will be discussed at city council meeting whether or not to add that as an item in the future.
that's correct.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. And yeah, if you have any other questions, I'm happy to provide updates.
Do any commissioners have further questions? Commissioner Sillen.
Thank you. Regarding the February 10th meeting, are you officially declaring this canceled, or is there a chance that something gets moved up and then the meeting is back on, just for sake of scheduling? Thank you.
No, I believe that is canceled. We're past when the public hearing notice would have had to go out, so it's canceled, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, I see no other questions from commissioners. Do any commissioners want to bring up any other informational items? Okay, thank you all very much. I will adjourn this meeting at 8:09 p.m.